The life and legacy of Apostle Ezekiel Guti, a journey of faith, vision, and global transformation. A humble beginning. The early years of Ezekiel Guti. On May 5, 1923, in the remote village of Nawan, nestled in the Chipinge district of Zimbabwe, Ezekiel Guti was born. His upbringing in this rural and impoverished community provided little indication of the extraordinary destiny that awaited him. His family, devout and deeply rooted in traditional subsistence farming, laid the moral and spiritual foundation that would shape his future. Ezekiel's early life was defined by resilience, resourcefulness, and a quiet introspection that hinted at his unique spiritual calling. The name Handanawangu, meaning "I have no one," seemed prophetic in retrospect, symbolizing the journey of reliance on God that would define his life. As a young boy, Ezekiel was deeply curious about spiritual matters, often contemplating the mysteries of life and the divine. Though life was hard and resources were scarce, his spirit remained unbroken, nurtured by the words of Jeremiah 29 verse 11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." This divine assurance would later manifest itself in ways that transformed not only his life but the lives of millions around the globe. The defining moment, Ezekiel's divine calling. In 1945, Ezekiel Guti's life took a dramatic turn. At the age of 22, he experienced a divine encounter that would forever change his trajectory. Plagued by spiritual confusion and an internal longing for truth, Ezekiel faced a life-threatening illness. It was during this period of desperation that he turned to prayer, crying out to a God he barely knew for healing and direction. The result was a miraculous recovery coupled with a vision so profound that it left no doubt in his mind. He had been called to serve God. In this vision, Ezekiel received a clear mandate to preach the gospel to nations and lead people into a life of spiritual victory. This moment paralleled the experience of biblical figures like Moses at the burning bush, Exodus 3 verses 4-6, or Paul on the road to Damascus, Acts 9 verses 3-6. From this day forward, Ezekiel Guti's life became a relentless pursuit of his divine calling. He often described this moment as the birthing of his purpose, encapsulated in Psalm 37 verse 23. "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord." The birth of Forward in Faith Ministries International, a visionary leader emerges. In 1960, after years of intense prayer, preparation, and small-scale evangelism, Ezekiel Guti founded the Zimbabwe Assemblies of God Africa, ZAOGA, later internationally recognized as Forward in Faith Ministries International, FIFMI. With virtually no financial resources and facing skepticism from both religious and traditional communities, Ezekiel began preaching to small groups in rural Zimbabwe. What distinguished him was his unwavering reliance on prayer and the Holy Spirit. Ezekiel often spent hours, sometimes entire nights, in prayer, seeking God's guidance. His emphasis on prayer as the foundation of ministry was rooted in James 5 verse 16. "The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." His faith was further evidenced by the miracles and healings that occurred during his ministry, drawing multitudes to hear his message. Ezekiel's approach to ministry was practical, compassionate, and rooted in empowering others. He trained his congregants not only to deepen their relationship with God, but also to improve their lives through education, hard work, and community building. This holistic approach set Forward in Faith apart, making it a transformative force in Africa and beyond. Global impact, spreading the gospel across nations. Ezekiel Guti's ministry was never confined to the borders of Zimbabwe. He was a firm believer in the Great Commission of Matthew 28 verse 19. "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations." Driven by this mandate, Forward in Faith Ministries grew into a global movement, with a presence in over 150 nations. Ezekiel's leadership style combined spiritual depth with strategic foresight. He prioritized the training of leaders, establishing Bible schools, and equipping pastors to take the gospel to their communities. His global outreach included establishing churches in regions as diverse as Africa, Europe, North America, Asia, and Australia. Each new region brought unique challenges, yet Ezekiel's faith remained unshaken. Notably, Ezekiel's work attracted partnerships with globally respected ministers. One of the most prominent was his relationship with Dr. Miles Monroe, a renowned speaker, author, and pastor from the Bahamas. The two men shared a vision of empowering people to fulfill their God-given potential. Dr. Monroe frequently spoke at Forward in Faith conferences, and their collaboration brought international visibility to Ezekiel's ministry. Together, they emphasized the importance of kingdom leadership and personal transformation, creating a synergy that enriched both their ministries. Ezekiel's commitment to collaboration extended to other notable figures, including Reinhard Bonk, a German evangelist known for his large-scale African crusades. These partnerships not only expanded Forward in Faith's global reach, but also underscored Ezekiel's humility and willingness to work with others for the advancement of God's kingdom. Key milestones. Achievements beyond the pulpit. Ezekiel Guti's vision extended far beyond church walls. His ministry included significant contributions to education, healthcare, and community development. 1. The Africa Multi-Nation for Christ College, AMFCC. Founded in 1975, AMFCC became the cornerstone for training pastors and evangelists across Africa. The institution's curriculum blended theological education with practical ministry training, producing leaders who carried Ezekiel's vision forward. 2. Ezekiel Guti University, EGU. Ezekiel's passion for education led to the founding of Ezekiel Guti University in 2012. This institution offers a range of academic programs grounded in Christian values, empowering students to excel spiritually, intellectually, and professionally. 3. Mbuya Dorcas Hospital. Named after his mother, the Mbuya Dorcas Hospital is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that serves thousands of patients annually. Ezekiel believed that the church should address not only spiritual needs but also physical and social challenges. Challenges and triumphs. Faith through adversity. Ezekiel Guti's path was not without obstacles. He faced persecution, financial difficulties, and skepticism from religious and political leaders. In the early years of ZAOGA, there were moments when resources were so scarce that Ezekiel and his family lived in poverty. Yet, his faith never wavered. He would often remind his followers of 2 Corinthians 4 verses 8-9. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. Ezekiel's perseverance paid off. Over the decades, he witnessed the miraculous provision of God, from funding massive projects to opening doors for international expansion. His life became a living testimony to the power of trusting in God's promises. Family as a foundation. The role of Uner Guti. Behind every great leader is a strong support system, and for Ezekiel Guti, that person was his wife, Uner Guti. A devoted prayer warrior and spiritual leader in her own right, Uner stood by Ezekiel through the many challenges of ministry. Together, they raised children who carried on the family's legacy of faith and leadership. Uner's wisdom and humility made her a beloved figure within Forward in Faith ministries. She often spoke at women's conferences, inspiring thousands to live lives of purpose and prayer. As Proverbs 31 verse 28 says, "Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her." A life well lived, the final chapter. On July 5, 2023, Apostle Ezekiel H. Guti entered his eternal rest at the age of 100. His passing marked the end of an era, but his legacy continues to thrive. Forward in Faith Ministries International remains a global force, impacting millions through its churches, schools, hospitals, and humanitarian efforts. Ezekiel's life exemplified the words of 2 Timothy 4 verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. His story challenges us all to dream bigger, trust God deeper, and serve with greater passion. Conclusion: a legacy that lives on. Apostle Ezekiel Guti's life was a testament to what God can accomplish through a surrendered vessel. From the humble hills of Nawan to the global stage, his journey was marked by faith, perseverance, and a relentless pursuit of God's purpose. His partnerships with global leaders like Miles Monroe and his ability to unite diverse cultures under one vision made him a leader unlike any other. Today, his influence reaches across continents, inspiring millions to live lives of faith, service, and purpose. As we reflect on his legacy, we are reminded that the same God who worked through Ezekiel Guti desires to work through us. May his life inspire us to answer God's call with the same humility, courage, and unwavering faith.